What are you working on right now?
Just a piece, part of a continuous series I started about 6 months ago.
Cool. Cool. Is this some of your work here?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, tell us about this. It's an interesting picture.
What exactly do you want to know?
What's the concept behind the
concept?
This new style is different from your. It's different from your last your gallery event that we covered.
I decided actually from that, in terms of the style in the gallery, that my painting and my drawing should be separate in terms of style.
Okay.
So while my drawings kind of continue with that process, the paintings are a lot looser, a lot more aggressive, and a lot darker.
Okay.
It's more of this whole concept of subconscious memory anxiety. I guess obviously psychological views and just how they relate.
Okay. Are these it's like alter ego almost?
I guess you would say I drew a bunch of self-portraits without being intentional. What I would hope to do with these actually is to progress obviously beyond it, like not confine myself just to what I'm doing now, and then after working up that portfolio, try and get into a different studio or a gallery within the city. Like I have certain upcoming shows in the city, but they're more for my drawings, less for the painting. This one's really just focusing on the anxiety. You know, like that freaky mystery circle thing going on. You have no idea what's
Okay.
particularly, I guess, it's really more just fear of your own subconscious. Like you really have no idea what's truly going on inside your own head.
Okay.
People who live their entire lives without truly understanding their own mind. So, and I would hope, my main hope actually is that to some degree people would, one, be disturbed by it, but any form of reaction really, just because whether they like it, dislike it, or disturbed or whatever, then it means it's connecting to them on some kind of subconscious level without them even realizing it. So, I'll look the door. This one was, once again, there's always just one piece, it seems, that sparks everything, but this one was the one that instigated this. Because it actually, underneath it, it was a really Renaissance-like figuration of a woman. Like, perfectly done, beautiful texture and tone and stuff. I just got really frustrated with it. I'm like, why am I doing this? You know, I have no personal feeling towards it. It's just this beautiful image, and then I just kind of destroyed it with the paint, and it was a big release for me.
This obviously represents mood, or
yeah. This one is more 20 years of frustration with my own painting practice. But
what's so frustrating about describe the frustration like.
It was just this frustration of always creating something that looked like what it was, but there never being anything particular behind it. You know, I don't want to create beautiful pictures and of themselves. I want to create beautiful pictures or frightening pictures that are somehow this aesthetic ability behind them that connect to people on any degree. And I don't think what I was doing did that. It was just this pretty picture, and I hated it. So I kind of went into this, and I'm still developing some kind of philosophy about what I'm doing. You know, I'm still developing what I'm doing in general, and I always will be, but hopefully it'll become more crafted, more fine-tuned with the months and years that follow. In terms of the actual work, or just it's a personal thing, right? So it's just pretty much since I was a really small child. You know, I don't want to say I'm like the angsty artist. I really don't want to push that, but to some degree, there's something going on up there. So, oh yeah, of course. Who does fit in right, anyways?
Okay.
Yeah. And pretty much every person I've ever talked to is like that push kid in elementary school, and I can definitely say I was one of those. But I don't know. It's just the way your brain works. Is this the way my brain works? You know, like you can look at one day and you'll see nothing but greatness, and you wake up the next day and everything's shit. And I figure, you know, if that's going to be who I am, I might as well just embrace it in what I do. What I used to do, like in terms of more realistic things, I would always push it to go further and further. That's where the perfectionist would really push through. And then with this, it's much more therapeutic, I guess you could say, because there's not that push just to be exactly one way or the other. There is no one way or the other with what I'm doing. It's literally just what comes out of my head. So I just literally, since when I could pick up a pencil, like 2 years old, I just started doing it. and I always loved doing it. It's like, it's not one of those things that, you know, in fact, it's actually kind of good because my parents are really supportive of it, as opposed to most people I know who, you know, get to a better job because it's more secure.
Right.
But no, it's just, it was always kind of, as a child, it was my identity to be the artist, which just kind of shows how antisocial I was. But it was my only really way of communication with the other kids I had at school.
Okay.
I couldn't have a conversation with people. I found it really nerve-wracking to just be around so many people, so many loud people, and they're really critical. So what I did in general, just like the way I drew, it just kind of became this communication board for other people, you know, how they came to know me and how I could speak to them. Yeah, there really isn't any particular style, mostly because I can't stick to a style for longer than a few months. It always evolves to something. It could be in a similar genre, but it's not that style. I don't think I'm physically capable of sticking to the same style for years on end with the same subject material. The one thing I think is kind of possibly unique is the fact that my medium changes the style. The paint becomes the more aggressive approach. The drawing becomes the more finite, the more perfectionist area, and I'm more comfortable with it in that turn because the material is easier to manipulate into a more finite picture.
Would you move more into mixed media genre of maybe incorporating photography, perhaps, or even other elements that you would not necessarily have picked up during your field of study, or just?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, most definitely. I mean, if there's anything that comes up that I find particularly interesting, you know, I don't. It's equally limiting in my view to stick to just paint or just one facet of paint to go into it. I mean, you have to look at everything about you, all the forms of material, and then you could easily go into more experimental forms of imagery.
Have you done anything like that yet, or?
Not yet, actually.
Not yet. Okay.
Mostly because this is kind of like the first step towards that, I guess. You know,
okay.
Letting go through 20 years of art history practice into a more loose psychological aspect, and then from there becoming more experimental and more brave or courageous in terms of material and subject matter. The drawings I do tend to be more of a kind of comic fantastical genre. Like the paintings at the other gallery, it's more like that.
Did you read a lot of comics?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Yeah? Cool. You still do?
I love comics.
What are your favorites? What do you read?
Fables. I'm big on Fables.
Okay.
Actually can't think of anything else. Oh, Arkham Asylum specifically for Batman.
Okay.
That shit's beautiful. What motivates me?
Yeah.
Just the sake of doing it. If I don't do it, I get depressed, and honestly, I have to do it. Yeah. I feel like it's really, like, you know, people have certain things that make life feel worthwhile.
Right.
I don't want to put that weight on it, but it's pretty much like that. I feel like if I didn't do this, then I would never have fully accomplished anything. This is actually going to be another piece. It's going to be part of the falling woman thing, and I never did it, so I'm like, well, fuck it, I'll just paint over it.
Okay.
That's why you got like the indish of sort of what it used to be. But yeah, you can use anything. You can even take, like, if you really wanted, like, sometimes I find drawer frames and stuff.
Okay.
And I'll take them, I'll just stretch canvas over it.
Really? Really?
It's cheaper too.
So these are all, you made all of these?
Yep. That's canvas board. That's just a lot cheaper. But it's harder to carry because it's heavier.
That's awesome.
Like, especially because if you make it, you can make it any size you want. If you buy them, you're stuck to what they give you. Or if you even pre-order it, it's much more expensive. Like that. Like, that's huge. Well, fairly huge. Or you can get even like 20 feet by 10 feet tall. It's just any dimension you want. I don't know. It's just, I guess, I mean, if you're going to start creating a painting or anything, you might as well start at the very beginning, like the very fabric of what you're doing.
Beef. This is
for fun.
So your dad was
yeah.
Was a rock star in the 70s.
70s punk band, yeah.
Cool.
And I got Stanley Frank, Play It Till It Hurts.
Well, let me. Well, shit. That's his.
I got like 3 of his albums at home.
Let me get that.
So it kind of works both ways. I mean, he fully supports it, considering, you know, he himself was an artist.
Yeah.
Part of him is a little hesitant about it, just because he lived in poverty for like 15 years. But
right.
He traveled around the world doing shows. So.
That is so awesome. Cool. All right.